Coming up tonight, we've got all the big issues covered. The one and only Mark Morano will be here live with us from the big COP27 climate Beano at Sharm El Shakedown.
We're heading to the United Nations Climate Summit, and this is the way we chose to go. See you there soon.
That's actually not an environmentally responsible mode of transport. As I understand it, dromedary flatulence is even more devastating to the planet than bovine flatulence for the emissions of that camel. Mark could have flown in on Al Gore's private jet. By the way, if you're unsure about flying off on holiday these days, I always take a flatulent camel as my emotional support animal. 10 minutes out of Heathrow, you'll have the first class cabin all to yourself. Works every time. Incidentally, in many parts of the Arab world, they like drinking camel urine. So I'm just giving Mark a heads up if he parks at a motorway service area and draws a crowd. The World Health Organization says this is true. This is true. The World Health Organization says drinking camel urine spreads coronaviruses. Seriously. Look at this. There are the camels up at the top, and then if you scroll down the page, you'll find Middle East Respiratory Syndrome coronavirus. MERS-CoV is a virus transferred to humans from infected dromedary camels. You thought it was the Chicoms? It's the camels at COP27 who are doing this to us. So Sharm El Shakedown could see a deadly convergence between climate change hysteria and coronavirus panic. Time to line up and get the old jabber, jabber, jabber for the camel pox. Mark Morano is going to be here in a moment. He's seeing the sights. Egypt is renowned for its belly dancers. Unfortunately, the only one working at the COP27 summit is Boris Johnson. Yeah, shake it, baby. Woo! Meanwhile, back in the real world, the war on flatulence continues. The Irish can't find any virgins to sacrifice. So for weeks now, they've been preparing to slaughter their cattle to appease the climate gods. Quote, Irish farmers, this is from The Guardian, Irish farmers say they will be forced to cull cows to meet flatulence targets. Fact, Irish dairy herds are responsible for 37.5% of the nation's emissions. Under the protocol, as you know, there's a soft border in Ireland. So they try to waft a lot of the flatulence up north and get it added to the UK numbers. But we all know unionist cows don't flatulate, not since 1973 when Ian Paisley told them to knock it off. Nevertheless, it's time now for a massive bonfire of the bovines. Burning a Holstein or a couple of jerseys could reduce your energy bill this winter or power your electric vehicle for a couple of 100 yards. The World Health Organization has weighed in on the global warming. Here's what the WHO head honcho, China shill Dr. Tedros, had to say about it today. The climate crisis is a health crisis. And you know what that means under the new WHO health treaty that His Majesty's government was bonkers enough to sign on to. Lockdowns, masks, no freedom of movement, vaccine mandates, but just for a little bit. 2 weeks to flatulate the curve. Just because we're broke doesn't mean we can't be even broker. As Toby Young pointed out yesterday, Britain was the first nation to industrialise. So under the climate reparations, Rishi Rich has indicated his support for, we're going to be stuck with the lion's share of those reparations. Meanwhile, while our decadent ruling class prances around Egypt, flatulating more than the average Connemara bullock, we have open borders on the south coast, which pretty much ensures you can never slaughter enough cattle to make up for the incoming Albanians bulking up your nation's carbon footprint. The incoming migrant tide on England's southern shore is real, in a way that rising sea levels in the Maldives next century are not. And yet a zillionth of our government's energy goes into fixing the former as compared to the latter.